locked in and focused Fields, which is really, really scary. Penn State week 2. I know I don't know if you're calling that game.
No, we've got Nebraska there week 1, and then of course Michigan. But I can't wait to see him play against Nebraska. I'm with you about Fields. I think he's right up there, top 2.
Yeah, and then number 1 is Trevor Lawrence, and the numbers are ho hum because of who they play. I mean, he threw the ball 9 times against the Citadel last week, touchdowns. But in his last 10 games, he has 33 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. We both love this guy. I mean, there's not a lot left to say about him and what he's been able to accomplish and what he's doing on the football field. I just mentioned the Miami matchup here coming up pretty soon. Notre Dame toward the end of the year. Those are kind of going to be it. He doesn't. I mean, because the ACC, we just know how poor they are as a conference from top to bottom. There's not a lot of opportunity on the schedule to really make a stand, but because perception and how good he already is, I still think he and Fields are the front runners this year. And but there's some other guys. This is going to be an exciting race and just a different year.
You just bring up quarterbacks, and I'm not opposed. Listen, I'm an elitist just like you about the quarterback position, right? Like, I'm quarterback centric. There's no doubt about it. But if there were other guys outside of some quarterbacks, who are your guys that could creep into this and maybe win it that aren't quarterbacks?
Well, I love Najee Harris at Alabama. We'll see him this weekend. Just what he did last year. And, Tua's gone. I like Mac Jones. Personally, I don't think this offense is going to skip a beat. I think they're going to still throw the football. But Najee Harris is a guy, just a bruiser. I think he reminds us a little Derrick Henry, but probably maybe a little faster. Keep an eye on Najee Harris at Alabama, especially in that type of schedule where they're going to have to grind through games and maybe lean on the run game. Chuba Hubbard is a guy I know kind of got off to a slow start last week, but they edged out the win. Still had 90 yards and a touchdown. You got to feel like he's going to get going, obviously, at some point. Travis Etienne at Clemson is another guy. Those are all running backs. So, one of those guys will be in the mix. But as you said, we're elitist fans, so we like our QBs.
Listen, it's the most important position, so they should probably win the award. Now, I'm with you on all those running backs. I would say I think it's really going to be tough for Etienne to outshine Lawrence, right? Because they're on the same team. So that's going to be difficult for him to win it. And then Chuba, with this week 1 performance against Tulsa, I'm not so sure. So I'm with you on Najee Harris. He's got now that Bama backing, and he will be the offense. No one's going to sit there and be like, hey, Mac Jones is really making this thing go. They're going to be talking about Najee Harris. So that's why I'm with you on him. And then the only other thing I would say is you're right about me loving Spencer Rattler. Some of the throws, you mentioned this, some of the throws he made were out of this world good. Like, they don't happen. Back foot, throwing the ball 52 yards through the air. Guys don't do that. I certainly don't think I ever threw the ball 52 yards in the air in a game ever. I don't even know if I could. Patrick Mahomes only did it 1 time last year. It was in the Super Bowl to Tyreek Hill. Like, that was effortless. So watch out for Rattler. I really think that he's got something special there at Oklahoma. And, oh, by the way, we're going to be in Norman this week, Maddie. A little Big Noon Saturday with the Oklahoma Sooners on the air. So that'll be fun.
One more thing on Rattler. I thought, the poise and composure. And again, we can't get too carried away. That's what we do because of who they play. But listen, anytime you're going in your first college football game, I don't care who you're playing. There's nerves. You might get off to a slow start. He looked like a veteran, and he threw. I think it was a slant and go, and he threw a back shoulder. I think some point in the second quarter, maybe the end of the first, where I literally rewound it like 3 times. I'm like, like it was just a dime. And
yes.
And to make that throw, it's like God dang, man, like that's impressive. So he was really good. He exceeded my expectations. I was, I don't know if I was questioning him, but you got big shoes to fill, really big shoes to fill, 3 years in a row, and he answered those questions, and I think he's going to have a great year.
My man, I appreciate you joining me, and we'll do this again during the course of the year and keep up on this Heisman race as college football moves along. So I appreciate you, man. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man.
I want to break down one of those players that Matt and I were just talking about in the last segment, and that is the Ohio State quarterback, Justin Fields. I saw him way back last spring, so 2 springs now ago, and there was some trepidation about whether he was going to be ready, in particular as a passer. Ryan Day and I sat there on the sidelines, and he said, yeah, he's got a ways to go. And then by the time they were playing Michigan and playing Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game and in the playoff, this guy was a polished, refined product at the quarterback position. I want to take you through his development. So I'm going to show you first what we've always known about Justin Fields and how he can affect the defense. And then I'm going to take you to where he developed the most during the course of the year and why that was so important for Ohio State. So 3 clips, all against Michigan. Let's start with what we've always known about Justin Fields, and that's his ability to affect the defense. Here's just an easy, goal-to-go situations. Looks like a regular handoff. Oh, Dobbins scores. But what actually happened? Well, what you'll see is there's 8 defenders for Michigan and only 6 blockers for Ohio State. So Fields, he's got to occupy at least 1, maybe 2 defenders. Let's see what happens. Can he even out the numbers? He fakes and goes left. Watch that. 2 defenders stop. And that little pause allows hats for hats on the front side. So now it's 6 for 6 on the front side. Dobbins finds a lane, and he's able to score. There's Fields and what we know. Now let's go to where he's developing. This looks like just an easy little crossing route. Oh, yeah, big gain for Ohio State. Doesn't look too difficult. But here's a guy who's not panicking in the pocket. Mistake up front. 2 offensive linemen blocking 1 defensive lineman. What does Fields do? He doesn't panic. He doesn't try to run away. He calmly backs up with the defender right in his face, and he flips the ball to his little shallow crossing route right on target so that he can run. He knows he's going to get hit, and yet he still completes the ball. Eyes up, eyes downfield, boom. Completes to Garrett Wilson. Big gain for the Buckeyes. That is great development. And then the explosive plays down the field. And this is where I thought that he really took a real big jump during the course of the season. There's so much room in front of him there that he could run for days, but he finds a touchdown pass to Chris Olave, right? I think early in the season, he probably would have taken off right here. He's got all sorts of green grass, but look, his eyes are downfield. He's still working himself in the pocket with his foundation. And what does he find? A wide open man for an explosive play. And it ends up being a touchdown as Chris Olave is in the end zone for Ohio State. That's why he was so good and why Ryan Day was so excited about the way that he was playing late in the season. And that's what I'm expecting even more so from him during the course of this season when we see Ohio State back on the field October 24th. So Justin Fields, great play last year. I expect even better this year. Now it's time for some Klatt back. Let's get to your feedback. Remember, on social at Twitter, I'm at Joel Klatt. Instagram, Joel_Klatt. Bring all your snark, because that's what makes the show better. Let's get to it. Here we go. We're going to go to John Carlton. And John Carlton says, hey, thanks, at Joel Klatt, although I don't know if playoff sleeper is that high of praise. This is in reference to the fact that I said UCF is a playoff sleeper this year. They look pretty good. I'm like, hey, maybe this is the year. In a weird COVID year, they're ranked 13th in the country, and apparently that's not high enough praise. You're ranked 13th in the country. Like, you're not imminently in the playoff. We've never seen a group of 5 team in the playoff. Being a playoff sleeper is the best I can do for you right now. I can't give you some sort of preseason national championship ring to go with your ghost national championship banner from a couple years ago. Like, this is the best I can do. John Carlton Jr. should just be JJ, but I digress. Let's move on. Let's go to Storm Lindbergh. Storm Lindbergh says, so if Alabama and Ohio State played today, you're going with Ohio State? Interesting. This in reference to the fact that I had number 1, Clemson, number 2, Ohio State, number 3, Alabama. Storm, Roland Gardner, putting Ohio State 1 place above Alabama is the definition of, if they played today, I think Ohio State would win. I cannot be any more clear. But thank you, Rosengardner, for your feedback. Moving on. Let's go to Matt. Because you know what, Matt Gray chimes in. He says, shouldn't allow scaredy cat Big Ten teams till they actually play a game. Then, when they do finally play a month from now, make them earn their rankings. Thank you, Matt. We did some research on your profile. You're a Kansas fan. Hashtag rock chalk. Kansas is so bad, they make me want to rub my temples. 2 straight years you lost to Coastal Carolina, and you're going to chirp the entire Big Ten? Matt. Oh, it hurts sometimes. It hurts. Social media hurts. Hey, Saturday, I'm going to be in Oklahoma, folks. Gus, Jenny, and I are going to be in Norman to call Kansas State at Oklahoma. That's Big Noon Saturday, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern on Fox. Check us out because I can't wait to see that Oklahoma team play. That'll do it for us today. This show, as always, is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. It is the official drink of Fansville.